The wealthiest people in the world share a secret that most of us never learn. It's not about earning more money or working harder. It's about saying no. The power of refusal is perhaps the most underrated skill in building and protecting wealth. When you understand how to say no strategically, you protect not just your money, but your time, your energy, and your attention. These are the true currencies of success. If you're watching this because you want to understand how wealth actually works, please subscribe to the channel. We break down the real strategies that separate the wealthy from everyone else. Consider this: every successful person you know has exactly 24 hours in a day, just like you do. The difference isn't time itself. The difference is how ruthlessly they protect it. A billionaire's calendar looks nothing like a middle-class person's calendar. Why? Because they've mastered the art of strategic refusal. They understand that every yes to one thing is a no to something else. Every meeting attended is a meeting not attended. Every project taken is a project not taken. This mathematical reality is what most people ignore. When Warren Buffett was asked about his success, he didn't talk about his best investments. He talked about his avoided investments. He spoke about all the deals he said no to, all the opportunities he walked away from. This is the foundation of his strategy. The wealthy know that saying no protects their capital in ways that most investors never consider. When you say no to a bad deal, you're not just avoiding a loss. You're preserving the capital that could have been lost, the time that would have been wasted, and the emotional energy that would have been drained. Let's talk about how this works in practice. A wealthy entrepreneur receives dozens of business proposals each week. Each one promises incredible returns. Each one sounds compelling, yet she says no to 95% of them. Why? Because she understands that one bad investment can erase years of gains. One poorly chosen partnership can damage her reputation permanently. One time-consuming project can derail her focus from what actually matters. She's not being rude when she declines. She's being strategic. The psychology of saying no is worth exploring. Most people feel uncomfortable refusing requests. We're taught from childhood that saying no is selfish or unkind. We internalize the belief that we should be helpful, agreeable, and accommodating. This conditioning serves us poorly when we're trying to build wealth. The wealthy have deprogrammed themselves from this guilt. They understand that protecting their boundaries protects their future. When you say no to something, you're not rejecting a person. You're making a conscious choice about your priorities. You cannot buy more hours in a day. You cannot invest in creating additional years in your life. Yet most people treat time like it's infinite. They say yes to meetings that could have been emails. They attend events they don't care about. They listen to people pitch ideas that will never matter. Meanwhile, the wealthy are ferociously protective of their time. They say no to almost everything so that they can say yes to the few things that actually move the needle. Energy is another resource that gets depleted by poor boundaries. Every interaction costs energy. Every decision costs mental resources. Every project drains your capacity. The wealthy understand this. They deliberately minimize low-value interactions so that they have abundant energy for high-value work. When a billionaire says they're too tired for an event, they're not being antisocial. They're being strategic. They know that their energy is finite, and they're protecting it for the activities that generate returns. Let's examine how the wealthy say no in specific situations. A startup founder pitches an incredible opportunity. She has the money, she has the expertise, but she still says no. Her reason? It doesn't align with her core strategy. This is the sophisticated kind of refusal. It's not based on whether something is good. It's based on whether it's good for her. This distinction is crucial. Many opportunities are genuinely good. They just aren't good for you right now. Capital allocation is fundamentally about saying no. When a wealthy investor decides where to put money, she's simultaneously deciding where not to put it. Every dollar invested in one place is a dollar not invested elsewhere. This is why the wealthy are so careful about their investments. They understand that capital deployed poorly is capital lost forever. Worse than lost, actually. Lost capital could have compounded and grown. So when they say no to an investment, they're protecting not just the money itself, but all the future value it could have generated. The concept of opportunity cost becomes obvious once you start protecting your boundaries. When you say yes to something mediocre, you're saying no to something excellent. The wealthy internalize this. They ask themselves constantly, what am I giving up by saying yes to this? If the answer is something more valuable, the choice becomes easy. They say no. They walk away. They move on to the next opportunity. This is how they stay focused, while others scatter their efforts across dozens of half-hearted projects. Saying no requires confidence. You need to believe in your judgment enough to refuse what others are offering. A person racked with self-doubt will say yes to everything, hoping that one of them works out. A confident person says no to most things, trusting that better opportunities will come. The wealthy have built this confidence through experience. They've said no to bad deals and watched good deals come along. They've declined poor partnerships and found stronger ones. Their history confirms that their judgment is sound. There's also a reputational component to strategic refusal. When you say yes to everything, you become known as someone who says yes to everything. People learn that you can be counted on for small favors and mediocre projects. Your reputation becomes diluted. By contrast, when you're selective about what you commit to, you become known for excellence. People know that if you've said yes, it matters. If you've committed your time or capital, it's significant. This reputation attracts better opportunities and better partners. It's a virtuous cycle. The wealthy often use surrogates to deliver their no's. They have assistants, managers, and advisors who do the refusing for them. This serves multiple purposes. It protects their time, obviously, but it also insulates them from the discomfort of direct refusal. When someone wants to pitch an idea, they don't reach the founder. They reach the founder's team. The team evaluates it. The team says no. The founder never has to experience the awkwardness. This is strategic delegation. Let's talk about what happens when you say yes too often. Your calendar fills up with commitments that generate no value. Your energy gets spread thin across dozens of projects. Your capital gets tied up in mediocre investments. Your attention scatters. You become busy without being productive. You work hard without building wealth. This is the trap that most people fall into. They say yes to be helpful, to be polite, to seem ambitious, and in doing so, they sacrifice the focus that wealth requires. Like this video if you've experienced this trap before. You're ready to break free from it. The wealthy have a different relationship with their own productivity. They don't measure success by how many meetings they attend or how many projects they oversee. They measure success by outcomes. Did the business grow? Did capital compound? Did value get created? Everything else is secondary. This is why they can say no so easily. They're not trying to maximize activity, they're trying to maximize results. And results come from focus, not from busyness. Let's examine some real-world scenarios where saying no matters. A real estate investor gets offered a property at a good price, but it's in a market she doesn't know well. She says no. She could make money, but she could also make mistakes. She sticks to markets where she has expertise. A CEO gets asked to sit on a board of a nonprofit he cares about. It would be meaningful work, but it would require 12 hours a month. He says no. Those 12 hours are worth more to him deployed elsewhere. A venture capitalist gets pitched by a friend. The idea is interesting. The founder is likable, but the market isn't right. She says no. She'd rather invest in a similar team tackling a better market. These are all examples of strategic refusal. One of the most important no's that wealthy people learn to say is the no to their own impulses. A successful investor feels tempted to jump into a trending market, but she pauses. She asks herself if this fits her strategy. If it doesn't, she says no to herself. This self-discipline is harder than saying no to others, but it's essential. The wealthy have trained themselves to be as disciplined about their own desires as they are about external requests. Saying no also protects you from sunk cost fallacies. If you say yes to everything, you end up committed to projects that no longer make sense, but you've already invested time and money, so you keep going. The wealthy are better at abandoning bad investments. They ask themselves regularly, if I were making this decision today with fresh eyes, would I still do it? If the answer is no, they get out, regardless of past investment. This requires saying no to the urge to preserve past commitments. We're told that successful people are highly agreeable and eager to help. In reality, successful people are often quite selective about their agreements and their help. They're not rude. They're not antisocial. They're just clear about their priorities. They understand that protecting their time and capital is not selfish, it's essential. It's the foundation of long-term wealth building. Let's address a common objection. Doesn't saying no limit your opportunities? Shouldn't you explore options and keep your mind open? The answer is nuanced. Yes, you should stay curious and informed, but curiosity and discipline are different things. You can learn about opportunities without pursuing every one. You can stay open to possibility without saying yes to everything. The wealthy maintain this balance. They're informed about what's available. They're just selective about what they actually pursue. The power of no extends to relationships and influences. The wealthy are careful about who they spend time with. They understand that your circle determines your outcomes. If you spend time with people who think small, you'll think small. If you surround yourself with people who make poor decisions, you'll be influenced toward poor decisions. So the wealthy say no to relationships that don't serve their growth. They say no to influences that pull them away from their values. This isn't cold or calculating, it's protective. We should also discuss what happens when saying no becomes too easy. Some wealthy people become so accustomed to refusal that they say no to everything, including good opportunities. This is the flip side of the coin. The skill isn't just about saying no, it's about being selective. It's about saying no to bad things so that you can say an emphatic yes to good things. The goal is focus, not isolation. You want to decline the 95% of opportunities that don't matter so that you can fully commit to the 5% that do. There's also a generational aspect to this. Wealthy families often teach their children the power of strategic refusal early. A young person from a wealthy background learns that they can say no to peer pressure because they have a different agenda. They can decline the party everyone's going to because they're working on a project that matters. They can skip the status symbols that their peers are chasing because they understand that real wealth is built differently. This gives them a head start. But this is a learnable skill. You don't have to grow up wealthy to develop it. The media often portrays wealth as the result of one big risk or one big yes. The entrepreneur who said yes to the crazy idea, the investor who said yes to the underdog company. These stories are memorable, but they're incomplete. For every big yes, there were hundreds of no's. The famous billionaire said no to thousands of business proposals to say yes to the few that mattered. The venture capitalist said no to almost every pitch to say yes to the winners.